Thanks, Matthias and Tosja, for joining this panel discussion. To dive a little more into the topic, can you please tell us a few sentences of your relationship between SICK and SAFELOG?
So maybe, first of all, good morning to everyone. It's a pleasure being here, and especially to welcome Matthias on our stage. So we have a really close partnership since many, many years, and I think the interesting aspect of this partnership is really that it has multiple dimensions. And today you're talking not to the sales of SICK, but you're talking to operations, and we have, since a few months, a close operation relationship also, because we are not just a partner in developing new products, and obviously you are a customer of SICK, but on the other hand, now we are also a customer of SAFELOG, because we are applying your technology in our operations. And I think that's a very special situation, because you have been working with SICK for many, many years, and you have developed together new technology, and now we are using that technology and integrate it also at SICK. And so that means if you don't deliver, we get a problem. If we don't deliver to SAFELOG, you got a problem, and I got a problem, of course. So how do you see that relationship, and yeah, what's special for you about the cooperation with SICK?
SICK has been is following my career at SAFELOG from day number one. My very first business meeting I had was with our SICK representative when I started 12 years ago. So from day one, SICK was a part of the journey. And back then, we were 16 people. We were a really small company. We had a startup spirit. Nevertheless, we were already in the business, but we were facing a very difficult time, 2009. And from that day on, we always found solutions for whatever problem we were facing. And together, I think we've gone a long, long journey. And what was really special is that SICK gave us the opportunity in 2016 that we can be part of their development of new products and new sensors. So being a small company with a really big vision, this made really a change for our product, that we are able to, together with SICK, develop, let's say, the new generation of sensors for mobile platforms. And it's been really successful. From day one, this partnership that grew was really successful. The first hardware we did together was a magnetic track sensor, which was the base for our low-cost mobile robot. And in the last couple of years, it got deeper and deeper, and together we developed a software product for contour navigation and contour localization that's a mandatory part of our system. It's not an add-on, it's mandatory, it's the base of everything we do. And so on every unit we deliver, SICK is not only in the hardware, but also in the software, a big part of the product. And I mean, working together and being able to put our technology also in your factories and your logistics, it really makes sense, because that gives us the belief that SICK really trusts and believes in our technology and also the market we're in.
Sounds like a long and intense and very successful relationship between SICK and SAFELOG. So you have a directly view on the changes in automation in intralogistics. In your opinion, where are we standing in the automation of intralogistics today?
That's a really big and hard question to answer, because there's not a worldwide synchronization on where we stand. I think let's say in China or the US, there's a totally different way of how logistics is working and what type of automation is used. And as a German company or being based in Germany, you always think that full automation, those big blocks next to the interstate, that's the way to go. That's the only way you can get forward with modern intralogistics. But I believe that in many ways, it's really only a Central Europe thing to go this way. In Asia, and especially in the US, automation is done differently. And they have a bigger focus on simpler solutions. And in many ways, they're not as big into full automation in the logistics as in Germany. And it's probably a lot of aspects that come together in parts of labor or space, right? In the US, space is not the issue. You can always grow bigger space-wise. And in Germany, we are facing the problem that it's really hard to get to grow, to build up a new building. So you have to build high instead of wide. And this is a German thing in many ways. So I think automation is a big part of the future, but I think software is going to be an even bigger part. Let's say if automation doubles, I think software is going to multiply by 10 times or 20 times. So software is probably the biggest focus in the next 10 years, in my opinion.
Yeah, maybe I can precise the question a little bit more. We can have a focus on software and sensors on HEVs. What changes are you experiencing in that field?
In many ways, the integration of different small solutions is going to make the change, right? You have to be able to, let's say, not only try to have really big and global decisions. It's more putting the small and simple and smart solutions, but being able to communicate between all those solutions. Right? You're not going to have this one solution that's going to sort every problem in your company. It's more that you're going to really have to look what's the smartest solution in each corner and in each problem. So I think logistics gets more attention, right? 10 years ago, logistics was not getting as much as attention in any of the industries. Even in automotive, I think logistics gets a lot of attention now, and it's not, even if there is no value added, it's still the base of everything you do, right? You can't assemble anything if you don't have the right part at the right time, at the right spot. So supply chain, and especially in the last half a year, Tosja can tell everything about it, the supply chain got really, really in the focus of everything, right? Even if the smallest microchip is missing, you cannot assemble anything. So I think that's what's really changing. Logistics is getting a lot of focus, and software gives you the opportunity to think about different solutions. So, and of course, being able to have small and modular and mobile systems really makes you think differently on how you can organize transportation inside of your logistics. So.
Yeah, so you have to be very modular and maybe also standardized interfaces to be adaptable to new solutions. What's your opinion on that?
Well, let me maybe comment on a few points you made. So let's start with the complexity and also the different solution we need for different applications. And I think that's especially true for SICK, because as you know, we have thousands of different products. We have serial products in high volume, but we also have a lot of products which are produced as a special system or complex systems and devices. And that obviously requires a very different interlogistics approach for the different applications. And I think that's also the challenge we currently have, and we are, I would say, very much at the beginning of the automation of interlogistics because it's so complex. And if you think about the complexity, what you said also in terms of software, I think one of the most important aspects is that we have open interfaces, that we have open systems which are able to flexibly integrate several different solutions. And obviously, we have a very close partnership, but in the future, we will need a lot of different solutions in our manufacturing to be able to really supply our material to our production lines. So that's, I think, a basic principle, and which is also shown in the kind of cooperation we have. I think not one single company is now able to solve these very complex tasks, especially in the interlogistics, because it's about different sizes, different weight, it's a different speed, it's different also, let's say, cycle times we have to supply, and that means we have to have a very open interface. We have to have the connection to the MES system, manufacturing execution system, manufacturing control system, and in that partnership, it's therefore so important that we have that open infrastructure, especially on the software layer, because otherwise it will be extremely difficult to let's say, make our intralogistics system future-proof. And I think that's also what changes really in the market. It's that without that kind of open collaboration we are having with you, but also with other partners, it will not be possible to solve the task we have to solve in manufacturing and in the supply for our manufacturing. And I think that's what makes it so special, also with that cooperation, because without your data, we cannot work in manufacturing, but vice versa. Also, you would have a very difficult time to run your system without all the data, of course, and the control and demand planning you get from our systems. And I think that's the very interesting aspect and why we need that more open collaboration between companies. Even if there might be some competition, we still need that collaborative approach to solve the real task we have to solve.
And how far are we with applying these approaches and concepts, maybe at our site in Hochdorf?
So as you know, we have a very modern next generation manufacturing site in Hochdorf here in Freiburg, and it's, I would say, really one of the first real Industry 4.0 manufacturing sites I personally have seen. And obviously, there the processes needs to be fully controlled, integrated, and we started in Hochdorf with a kind of own developed AGV system together with partners, and now decided that it's probably time to take it on the next level. And that's where actually SAFELOG came into place to really work with us, solve our tasks, and what really led to the decision to work with you also in our manufacturing. It was the openness, the flexibility, and the speed of integration you could offer in our manufacturing side. And I think that's one of the core elements companies like you have to focus on. It has to be extremely simple in the usage. It has to be simple in the interface that we can integrate it without a lot of efforts and without hiring another 3 software experts to run the system. And that's certainly the case in our corporation.
What except of the speed makes SAFELOG stand out in this process?
In many ways, applying a solution quick makes the difference, because I would say logistics is always changing, right? You will never be done optimizing your logistics, and it's probably the part in the factory that adapts the most, right? The assembly sets the system, and the logistics has to adapt. And in the world where everything changes so quick, like growth rates are higher than they have ever been, then the technology is always changing. So of course, the assembly and the logistics, they have to change in a really quick manner. So we tried to solve everything with standards, right? With a standard platform, standard solution, serial units that we have on stock. So whenever you have a customer that's ready to do the project, we only need, let's say, 3 to 4 months to be ready to deliver, because it's all done out of a Baukasten, out of an assembly system that we have on stock. Of course, this is also quick, right? We can't do anything before the customer is ready, but we are not the ones slowing the process down, right? We can adjust to whatever speed the customer wants from us, and I think this is a big helper doing a successful project, that the customer is setting the pace and not the supplier. And in many ways, let's say you have 1 year till you deliver, everything's going to change, right? The system that you buy is not going to be the system that you need in a year. So focus on the solution and be there quick and have a successful project. That's really the key to how we do our business. And I think it's fair to say that we have every project we do, we come to a successful closure. And that's the only thing that's going to count at the end, right? You can talk about many things, about technology, about vision, about deep learning, artificial intelligence, price. This is not going to matter if you don't have a working project at the end, right? Whatever you buy, you want it to function. And it's not so easy in a new market and with all those changes and all those media reports, to really talk about the same thing. Let's say many customers do their first couple mobile robotics projects right now, and they have a clear understanding, but the understanding might not be the same understanding that we as a supplier have. So you really have to synchronize and find out, hey, are we on the same page? Do we see the same picture? And that's something you really have to focus on before you make a contract and start delivering, because nobody's going to be helped if the project is not successful.
Yeah, your approach of the toolbox and modularization makes you adaptable to new customers. But do you experience any differences between the branches of industries?
Even inside all the industries, no logistic is the same. Even with SICK, right? If you look at different factories from SICK, they have different solutions. There is no blueprint in logistics, not industry-wise, and a lot of times not even company-wise, because the logistics is the department that has to adapt to whatever is set, and the assembly is setting the factory, and everything else, getting the parts there, having your inbound, outbound, all in retail, doing all the returns. It is a tough, really tough market, and logistics is usually not seen as a value-added service. It just has to work. I really hope. Logistics has a great chance, right? And with all those new technology, with all those systems that get really affordable, and with all the software power that's now present, there's a great chance to really change how logistics is done and to really change how people have to work in warehouses.
I may comment on that one. I think you're right. So intralogistics was always seen as, let's say, something you need to do, but it wasn't really seen as something which is really adding to the cost of manufacturing. And if you just think how much material we used to have in manufacturing 10 years ago, or even 5 years ago, it changed completely and fundamentally, because now, obviously, we go more into those just-in-sequence value chain, so we really try to have less material in manufacturing. And the other thing, what you mentioned, the value add of intralogistics, of course, especially if we have variants of products, we need to see that we get these variants at the very end of the process. And also that changes fundamentally what we need to do in intralogistics. And the other thing, you mentioned the different industries. Yes, it is fundamentally different. Of course, you're working in automotive, and certainly they have complete different requirements as we have. And I mentioned already the difference between complex systems and devices and serial products. In serial products, for example, it may even be the case that an AGV is not the right approach because it doesn't deliver the speed or the, let's say, we need in that case maybe less flexibility, but it's really about the speed, and there may be other systems. And coming back to that collaboration or that, let's say, open collaboration aspect of our partnership, it's really about accepting also that we need different technologies for different applications. And what I really liked when we spoke was, I said, hey, look, Matthias, obviously I cannot say we can only use SAFELOG in our manufacturing. It's a great value add, but it's so complex, I need to be open, and I need to have an open platform to solve all the problems I'm currently having. And I think that's also what's new, that companies like SAFELOG are open to accept they cannot be the only partner in that. They're a really important partner, but we still have a lot of different, let's say, aspects to bring into those projects. It's the integration of the fully automatic stock. It's the integration of all the different software layers we are having. And I think the approach you're taking in being really open, that also allows you to serve in different industries very easily. And that's, of course, highly appreciated.
And does that integration you mentioned have an impact on the development of sensors? Maybe do we need more intelligence inside our sensors?
Well, obviously, as you know our claim, which is sensor intelligence, and certainly that's, I think, for SICK the most important aspect, that we provide more intelligence in our sensor technology and go to the next level. But in that sense, let's now come to the customer relation we have. You're our customers. So what are your requirements for our sensors for the future? How much software do you want to have? How much support on the technological side for your products?
It's hard to answer that question, right? I have a vision about the future, but it's not a clear, it's not set in slices yet, right? And I am 100% sure that the mobile robotics market, it's gonna be a vehicle market, right? We do software-controlled vehicles. So, looking back, what is the vehicle, like the automotive industry, focusing on? It's going to be the same thing we'll be focusing on. So it's integrated systems that are 100% made for this application. Let's say the main focus for SICK is to have a really wide variety of sensor systems that you can adapt to many different tasks. And in a lot of ways, doing a small number of units and project development, this is really the key to everything, right? You have 40,000 different products that you can choose the right product for you. In many ways, what we are doing is changing. We have a demand for a certain product that needs to fit our need and our need alone. And SICK is really doing a great job listening to us, and together we find a way of, let's say, using the 40,000 different products and the parts inside those products to make a custom solution for us. And this is not something normal, I would say. This is something really special that we, as a rather small customer, like SICK is our biggest and most important supplier. But the other way around, I think we're one of many in many aspects. But we have a really close partnership, and we get a lot of attention from all levels, from the C-level also down to the working level, where we develop new solutions for our system alone. And this type of attention from such a key player in the market, I think, is something really special, and I'm really thankful that we get so much support and so much attention. And in many ways, what we have done in the last couple of years, we are delivering 1,000 units now. The forecast is going up to 4,000, 8,000 units. It's gonna get big in a really short amount of time, and it wouldn't have been possible with all the support and all the focus from a company like SICK on us to say, hey, we know you need something special. We understood that we have to listen more carefully, and they really did. Like, we have many rounds of meetings, and to be honest, when this all started, my vision, my idea of doing things is really the opposite than everybody else was talking, right? And I was the one going the wrong way. And so it was really, I think, a brave decision from SICK to listen and say, hey, he might be going the other direction, but who knows what the right way is. And it turned out that our focus on having a low-cost unit, a simple-to-use, a quick-to-integrate unit, and that's focusing on software and not so much about sensors, technology in many ways, and about future and hype subjects. We're focusing on the unit itself and on a good software to control it. And SICK really made the difference in this progress and in this way. So thank you.
Well, but I think we also have to say thank you, because I think it was a great way of co-inventing what's really needed in the market. And that's, again, where we can support each other and what the new kind of collaboration is. We also want to foster at SICK. And I think also to improve our products, that feedback is really important. And now we have the complete cycle of joint development. You are using our products, we are using your products, and now I think we really come to that new cycle of feedback to improve the overall system and application. And I think that will be important for the future, because let's face it, at least for me as an operating officer, it's still very difficult to think about how it will really look like in 10 years, because there is so much technology development in the moment, and if we are not really close to what's happening and drive it by ourselves, it will be very difficult to take the right decisions also. As you know, we have many manufacturing sites around the world, and in the moment we try different things because there is not the one system which really works for us. And I think it's now together we can develop what will be needed in 5 years, in 10 years.
And there is no blueprint, right? Nobody can help you with that task. And there's so many different ways of going that way. With how much automation do you need in your factory? How is assembly going to work? In what countries are you even going to produce? Is it the same system in Germany than in Hungary or China? So it is a really complex task, and so in many ways I believe whatever you can do with software, you have to do with software. And then you have to be quick and change, open to change. And whatever you buy now, don't calculate 20 years or 10 years. Whatever you buy now, calculate 4 years and then reconsider. Right?
Yeah, that's why we need new competencies in future. Can you have a more detailed look at that?
About my
no, which competencies do we need in future to handle this process?
I only have my view of things, and it's always the same story. Of course, our product is hardware, but the heart of the product is software. And logistics, whenever we sit down, you come to a point that the logistics planning department, the head of logistics, they have to be really into digital. They have to understand the modern digital world. They have to be digital natives in a sort. And they have to also understand that not every poster is the future, right? Not every device needs AI. Not everything needs to be artificial intelligence. In a lot of parts of the factory, just intelligence is going to be enough. And so it's really focusing, and I think having the planning in a shorter horizon and being open to rethink all the time, rethink how you do solutions, but then also be open to let's say, more hands-on solutions, and not, let's say, we have to invest one time 100 million euros having a full automated factory, and then we are set forever. Because even with SICK, with those growth rates, you're going to have the same decision next year. And so it's not a one-timer. You have to always reconsider. And I think having a lean system, having a mindset open to change and open for software solutions, and let's say focus on the 80% and not on the 110. Like being able to see what is the hard part and maybe find different solutions for different problems in the factory. That would be my advice.
Thank you very much. I think this is a very good final conclusion. As we are already at the end of our panel discussion, thank you very much for joining. It was very nice.
Thank you, Matthias. I'm looking forward to the further cooperation. It's a pleasure. Thanks.
Thank you.